सीज़न 3 के एपिसोड 64 में हम देखेंगे कि किस तरह बालवीर ने बी को शाश्वान लोक की सैटेलाइट से छुपाकर एक ऐसी गुफा में रख दिया जहां शाश्वान लोक की सैटेलाइट्स बी को कभी ना ट्रैक कर पाएँ और कभी ना ट्रेस कर पाएँ, क्योंकि ये एक ऐसी जादुई गुफा है जहां शाश्वान लोक की कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी और मशीन बी को ट्रैक नहीं कर पाएगी, जो कि महामहिम उतान को गुस्सा दिला देती है, क्योंकि अब उतान बी को नहीं ढूंढ पाएगा और बालवीर को नहीं ख़त्म कर पाएगा। और हमने देखा था कि पिछले एपिसोड में ये आइडिया बेनाम का है, क्योंकि बेनाम को ऐसी काफ़ी खुफिया चीज़ें पता हैं जो कि बालवीर को नहीं पता, और क्योंकि बेनाम बालवीर की माँ है तो इसीलिए बेनाम को बालवीर से ज़्यादा पता है। और हम देखते हैं कि पिछले ही एपिसोड में बेनाम ने कहा था कि बालवीर को शाश्वान लोक ज़रूर बुलाया जाएगा, लेकिन वो हम देखेंगे काफ़ी देर बाद, क्योंकि शाश्वान लोक में अभी बेनाम ने जाना है ताकि बेनाम उतान से कह सके जो कि बालवीर उतान से कहना चाहता है। और हम देखते हैं कि बालवीर और बेनाम की ये जोड़ी बहुत ही ताकतवर है, क्योंकि ये एक माँ और बेटे की जोड़ी है और ये हमेशा किसी न किसी तरीके से ज़रूर जीतेगी। और हम देखेंगे कि इस जीत के बाद बालवीर की अगली लड़ाई काशवी से होगी। अगर आप सबसे पहले सीज़न 3 के एपिसोड्स देखना चाहते हैं तो मैजिक वर्ल्ड को सब्सक्राइब कर दें और इस वीडियो को लाइक कर दें, ताकि अगले सीज़न 3 के फुल एपिसोड्स आपके पास सबसे जल्दी आएँ। तो इस एपिसोड को शुरू करते हैं। Today's episode is going to be one of the most, you can say, won't be the best and won't be that intriguing, because this is just, you can say, beginning and build up to another episode that we are highly anticipated about. And of course, that episode being Balveer versus Kashvi. And we are going to talk about that battle in every episode until it officially airs, because we really want to see the true and full powers of Kashvi, and we will be delighted to see how Balveer really, you can say, treats Kashvi after knowing the fact that Kashvi is too powerful because of Mahajadu. And of course, everyone else needs to know as well that Kashvi now has the Mahajadu. And of course, no one on Shashwan Lok knows the fact that Kashvi is actually the offspring of Babel and Veer. So all of this information is hidden, and we can only hope that Balveer season 3 in the end, or at least has some sort of information or some sort of, you can say, hype and suspense regarding this information that will be very useful to the people of Shashwan Lok. And knowing Chashmag, it definitely will be useful for him and for his own advantage and for his own benefit. And of course, in episode 63, we saw how Balveer escaped, and there is this new power that was explored, and that power is Balveer using his eyes, which he never used. And for some reason, Balveer's eyes, when they grow, they can just be using any sort of, you can say, bending and manipulation of matter and matter possession as well. So these are the, you can say, superpowers that Balveer also has. Now, of course, Balveer is having all sorts of superpowers that are not generally described, or they don't have a definition or a literal meaning, because Balveer is very versatile in his powers, and there aren't any, you can say, fixed powers for Balveer. But we can only hope, we can always hope for better powers that would be useful for Balveer in the very, you can say, end. And of course, with that, the episode that ended would be very much in a good way. And of course, you can say, the way that Balveer used to escape the grasp of Utan was very unbelievable. And the way they were just, you can say, being very slow, way too slow for Balveer to conveniently, you can say, escape from their grasp, just feels like that they want to let Balveer go and they actually are willing to do that, and they don't really care about all this mission, because all of the things that they do don't make any sense at all, because it just is very unbelievable. And this has always happened with baal veer episodes, no matter how many times they try to justify it. Because in this scenario, baal veer should have been, you can say, disappeared. Baal veer should have been disintegrated when it was plenty of time that was left for everyone, including Uttan and Shashmag, to press the button, but they were too slow, and it definitely looks like that they were slow on purpose, so that baal veer escapes their grasp, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. And baal veer was conveniently, you can say, only paralyzed for a minute, and that gave them enough time to press that button. It takes less than a second to press a button, but for some reason the people of Shashwan Lok press these buttons when they take like 30 seconds and probably minutes just to press a button, which is so important, because they did all these tasks and all these levels to make sure that baal veer is gone. But it feels like that they do also not want to, you can say, erase the memory and existence of baal veer, and they also secretly want baal veer to live on, and that includes both Shashmag and Uttan. Now, there could be a deeper theory that Uttan, knowing how much he loves baal veer, doesn't want to erase baal veer, and Shashmag wants to be baal veer, so he can't just delete baal veer from existence. So both of these, you can say, explanations and theories or just justifications would make sense, but they are not explored, and we know for a fact that they won't be explored or explained in the future of baal veer's episodes. Now, of course, we are once again met with this very, you can say, heartbreaking scene where Kashvi is remembering the memories of her parents. The only one memory that she had on screen, that was when Babel and Tuer were, Tuer surprised Kashvi for the birthday, and that also did not turn out well, because that memory was also just destroyed when Agil came and froze everything. And everything that has happened to Kashvi ever since was just unbelievable, and it is definitely something that Kashvi cannot heal from, no matter how hard she tries. And of course, it is totally understandable from Kashvi's point of view, and it definitely is something that nobody can heal from. And yes, back at the unbelievable plot where they're still taking so much time to press a single button, doesn't make any sense, so we're not going to get into that at all. And the most important scene there is Kashvi's crying, and of course anyone who just lost their parents would cry, and just thinking and imagining how they did, or how they just, you can say, much they suffered, or if they felt any pain when they died, would be the thoughts of Kashvi as of now, which make complete sense for her to think so. And this is just laughable. This entire sequence is just laughable to the very extent, because baal veer can't be more powerful, or at least baal veer's eyes can't be more powerful than Shashmag's grasp. And we see that when baal veer is attacked, baal veer is literally just punched with magic by Uttan. Baal veer lets go of the, baal veer just, it is baal veer letting go of the B artifact, and of course the letter B is just as funny. And we are glad that in episode 64 it is finally shut down and that plot is completed, and we will definitely move on to the next plot from episode 65, where Kashvi will know the truth about her parents' death, and it definitely will have something to do with the fact that Shashmag did in fact leak the video where he very well photoshopped it using magic For some reason, magic can alter the most sacred recordings, and Utan won't know that. So all of it is definitely very convenient for the show, which isn't surprising at all. This is something that they have always done. And of course, this is something that they have done in Baal Veer Returns as well. But Baal Veer Returns was not this insufferable than Baal Veer Season 3, because these plots don't make any sense at all. No matter how hard we try to make ourselves believe that they are making sense. And of course, Shashmag just being surrounded by these stones and then just, you can say, buried in these stones is one of the funniest things ever. And Balveer doing that with his eyes also don't make any sense, because if anyone was paying attention to Balveer, they would understand that the glow, that blue glow that is coming from this side is from Balveer. And then Utan, knowing that Balveer is now out of his paralyzed state, would be very much powerful. Again, he is just acting dumb, so that we understand, or we take it for the fact that Utan is somehow unaware. And then this scene happens, which is definitely very, you can say it is a good scene in a cinematic way, because the bee artifact going from Utan's grasp to Balveer is definitely something that this show really did great. And Balveer then escaping is making sense, because why would Balveer stay here after knowing the fact that all of these people want Balveer dead? And of course, there is this funny scene, there is this comedic scene of Ubad preparing to celebrate, or just preparing these celebratory, you can say, entrances, or just them greetings of Utan and everyone else, and then him asking this soldier to just lit the sky with fireworks after this victory is just funny. It makes it definitely had a laugh from us, but then it was just shattered. And of course, it was shattered by the fact that this show doesn't care about the audience. And for some reason, the colors of the magic that they use is something that we need to talk about. Why doesn't it have fixed colors? Why isn't it having any sort of fixed colors for these characters? Yes, it makes sense for Balveer to have blue color. Yes, it does. But then there was this scene when Benam was using this black smoke with this unsaturated blue magic to teleport, but then it was only there for a couple of episodes, like 3 to 4 episodes, and then it wasn't her using that teleport anymore. And the only person who uses red teleportation magic are the people of Himbashlok, which also don't make any sense, because we thought that Agil would and everyone else, according to their color, would be using their own, you can say, outfit colored magic, which they don't. It would be really great if we saw how Shashmag, knowing that he has this purplish outfit as a cape or whatever, this is definitely closer to a cape than an outfit, is or should have been purplish or maroon or magenta color. That would make sense, but it doesn't. And then we have Utan, who is definitely brown, but they could use these other colors like gold, because there was gold on his costume, so it would make sense if he had a golden teleport. And then the Lak and Kinkuri having teleports that would be very much similar to their outfit colors would make sense, but the effects team doesn't make any sense when they are giving these magical effects to these people. So that also is a bummer. And there is no fixed magic or teleportation magic or any sort of magic that would describe that these are the fixed colors of a certain character. because in one episode Shashmag is having green colors as his attacks, and then in other he is just using red or yellow. And Utan, being you can say a ruler, doesn't have his own you can say attack, or at least his own colors. He just uses red, just like Shashmag, or blue, or whatever color that suits him, or whatever color that suits the mind of the VFX effect team. So that is just unbelievable, and we can't really say much about it because it doesn't make any sense. And then we have Agil and the people of Himbashlok, who at most would use red magic when it should have been and it should be blue, because Agil is living on this very frosty you can say North Pole that is called Himbashlok, which is always at -degrees Celsius. So it doesn't make any sense for her magic to be red. It did make sense for Timnasa's magic because her cape was red, but Agil just doesn't make any sense. And of course it is only on the season to not make any sense, and it doesn't. So we are left with this show, and we are left with the satellite idea, and for some reason this is like the most unbelievable idea that is, well, of course it is for some reason unbelievable, but it shouldn't be, because this show has already done unbelievable things far before this episode aired. So it isn't something that could you can say cross our expectations for these ideas to work. And of course you can say the satellite and tracing the B artifact idea doesn't work, because for some reason they also don't know the last location B was traced, because for some reason this is a very backward technology that also doesn't work when it only works when it's convenient. And we can't drag this show enough for these writers to understand that they are basically killing their show, killing their own show, and they will be getting, you can say, unemployed when the show goes off air, which is a cold truth. It is the harsh truth, but it is true. And they have to step up their, you can say, writing game, or some sort of change must be needed for this show to be progressive. It is baffling to see how this show gets owned by the, you can say, the writers of the previous shows like Baal Veer season 1, and of course even the last episode of Baal Veer season 1 is more, or is definitely better than whatever Baal Veer season 3 is going on and about. And we can only hope that this changes, and that would definitely be it, because there is nothing we can do for this show to be great, and we can only hope and pray, or whatever we can do, so that this show goes on the heights that we expected it to go. And of course the episode 64 will definitely you can say progress to the fact, or to the plot, where it is much needed, where Agil needs to be dealt with. Well, Agil won't be dead for a while now, and it definitely looks like that even after crossing 100 episodes, Agil will still be alive. So the only questions that rise are if Baal Veer is going to fight Kashvi, or is he going to just fight her in a vision, or would that be a prophecy, or you can say an imagination of Baal Veer that would also not be explained prior to the audience. And of course this is definitely something that we always have experienced, and we already have seen two visions. The one vision where Baal Veer drank poison, which was a fake, which was a vision of Mahadeshi, and then Baal Veer beating Shashmag for killing Mahadeshi was also a vision or an illusion or just an imagination of Shashmag, and it also wasn't real because Shashmag was drunk, so he was just facing these hallucinations. And of course it has some sort of backup to it because he was drunk, but Mahadishi wasn't drunk, she was just paranoid, and her paranoia got the best of her, but that wasn't explained in this show at all. And we really have to, as content creators, fill the gap, the giant gaping holes that the writers left us with in the writing department, because these plot holes can't be called plot holes. These are giant pits that are left behind when the writers are writing their plot. And of course, the only, you can say, intriguing plot there is of Kashvi becoming evil slowly by the day, and we will be really excited to see how Kashvi goes on with her strength. Subscribe our channel and watch these Balveer episodes only on Magic World, where new Balveer episodes are daily uploaded with new ideas. Only for the true Balveer fans who want to experience the wonders of Balveer that are brought to you by Magic World. Take care of yourself and be happy.